We have a dream.
So Nick, we go back to Duran Duran. I have,
Yeah.
yes, Duran Duran. At least we can speak about Duran Duran, Nick. At least we
Yes,
can.
we definitely can.
Now we definitely can. I have two versions. One is
Uh-oh.
one is in white vinyl. That this
Uh-huh.
one is in white vinyl. That's
Yeah.
yeah. And the other one, I don't know which version is this. It says transparent red vinyl in, limited edition.
Red vinyl.
Yes, but
Um,
it's a limited edition. This one.
the really rare one is the green vinyl one. I don't even have one of those. They haven't even sent me one, Ronnie. I don't know. You agree to do these things and don't even get one.
Nick, I'm proud to show you the new Duran Duran records. In
Oh, you've got the red one. Yeah, yeah.
I have red one.
I think I've got a red one. Yeah, not a
You,
green one though.
you don't have the green one.
No, the lime green one. I don't have.
Ah, ce ne sono due, una verde, una. If you want, I can try to find for you one.
Hopefully they'll send me one eventually.
Yes. So, and I was listening, and it's incredible because first of all, I think that "Falling" is one of your preferred songs.
Uh, it was amazing working with Mike Garson, the David Bowie's longtime pianist. He's such an extraordinary musician. And for us, you know, growing up listening to one particular Bowie album, Aladdin Sane, every day I used to think about those tracks and how amazing they sounded, particularly the song Lady Grinning Soul and the title track Aladdin Sane, which featured Mike Garson's piano very heavily. And we asked Mike whether he would play something on a record for us, and that was our remit. Was, well, if you could make it just in the sort of style of those songs, that would be heaven for us. And that's exactly what he did. So when we played it back, and we were all in the studio together because he worked remotely, we sat down and there was just quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. And we all listened to it, and I think it had taken us back to being sort of teenage boys in Birmingham and Simon in Pinner, Middlesex, listening to that Bowie record and thinking, wow, you know, here we are 4 decades into our career. Sadly, David's not around anymore. But we heard this sound that Mike Garson had given us on the record. And it was a real gift from him, something super special that we're lucky to have made it happen.
Allora io ho detto con Nick che secondo me uno dei suoi brani preferiti dell'album era Falling, forse perché era un brano lento, eccetera. Lui dice sì, dice mi piace molto perché in Falling c'è la collaborazione con Mike Garson. Mike era il pianista di David Bowie e loro amavano moltissimo Aladdin Sane. Quindi dice quando abbiamo lavorato in remoto, per quando ci siamo seduti e abbiamo ascoltato quello che aveva fatto Mike Garson, era qualcosa di incredibile perché eravamo 4 ragazzini di Birmingham che ascoltavano per loro 40 anni dopo qualcosa sembrava di entrare in un mondo di David Bowie. Sfortunatamente David Bowie non è più qui. Allora Red, ma i sottotitoli in italiano non esistono. Sto traducendo. They ask me subtitles. We can't do subtitles immediately. The only thing that I can is trying to translate properly. Non posso fare i sottotitoli, ma l'unica cosa che posso fare. We want future past Christmas edition. Will you have a Christmas edition of future past?
Edition.
I don't know.
I'm very happy to just write the word Christmas on perhaps a copy of it. I'm not sure that there's anything to put out that isn't out there on the record now. There is a deluxe edition, which has a couple of extra tracks to the regular edition. And for those completists amongst you, the Japanese version actually has our version of 5 years on it too, on their deluxe version. So that's got the most tracks of anything out there. But since it took us about 5 years to put those together, I guess it'll be a little while before there's another album. What I would like to do one day is a Christmas song. I feel that's something we have sadly missed along the way.
Allora Nick dice che gli piace ascoltare la parola Christmas e alla fine ha detto ci piacerebbe anche fare una canzone per Natale, cosa che non abbiamo mai fatto e mi manca un po'. Però c'è una deluxe edition di questo album, Invisible, e c'è anche l'edizione giapponese che ha un brano in più. So the Japanese edition has one more song than the normal. Ah, ok, ok.
Well, it has one more song than the deluxe version. It just has our cover version of David Bowie's 5 Years.
Nell'edizione giapponese c'è una versione della canzone di David Bowie, Five Years. Future Past is... Oh, we could speak about song by song and after interact if you want with some people, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't we talk to some people? Let's see who's awake.
Yeah. So, first song, Invisible. What do you tell me about Invisible?
Well, it was always one of my favorite words when I was a kid because first I wanted to be a magician, and so invisible was kind of important. I think that song has got something quite unique about it in a way, not just because of the video. It reminds me a little of a period in the 80s. Certainly, got the drum sound reminds me a little bit of A View to a Kill. Somebody mentioned the Cameo song Word Up, which I would very happily admit to having always loved. It's that sort of period of sound, but somehow what happens with music, I think, it's a little like fashion. It takes a little longer than a season for it to change, but eventually something comes all the way back round. And when we were making this album, it wasn't that we made a conscious decision to make something sound more 80s. It was that music at the moment feels more 80s. And so my instinct was to play things in the style that I know how to play perfectly well, because we did it the first time. But that's why I think tracks like Invisible, people have been comparing them more to possibly work that we did during the 80s period. And I think because that is what sounds modern right now.
Dunque, allora, Invisible, che è la prima traccia dell'album, dice Invisible è una parola che io ho sempre amato. Invisible vuol dire invisibile, perché io volevo fare il mago da piccolo, quindi il sogno di un mago è quello di essere invisibili, diventare invisibili. Dice, in maniera non cosciente, non voluta, è venuto un sound, tutti lo paragonano al sound dei Duran Duran degli anni '80 come A View to a Kill, però non è voluto, era una cosa che proprio ci è venuta quasi naturale e la gente giustamente dice che sembra è più vicino al nostro sound degli anni '80. Nick, All of You.
All of You. Well, that for me is a proper Duran Duran chorus. It's sort of, it's uplifting, it's hooky, it's groovy, it's got a very simple lyric, the chorus, and often those are the ones that work best. And it's very firmly on the dance floor. And so that combination always makes me happy. That one to me is a bit more 70s. It sort of reminds me of things that I was hearing probably in the mid to late 70s when I was a kid. And there's a little bit of that influence in there. I used a rhythm box on that song, which in fact is a 1970s rhythm box. That's probably one of the reasons why I think that.
Allora, All of You, che è la seconda traccia dell'album, è una canzone tipica dei Duran Duran, del groove dei Duran Duran, molto semplice, anche il testo è molto semplice, è più una canzone da ballare degli anni 70 e difatti lui dice, assomiglia alle canzoni sono ispirato dalle canzoni che ascoltavo a metà degli anni 70 e difatti ha usato una rhythm and box del 1970. Give It All Up.
That's one of my personal favorites on the record. That one's a little darker. I love the shape of it. It's not traditional. It's unlike anything we've really put out before, which is hard to do at this point, I think. It's obviously identified by Simon's voice, but the track itself, I think, is really unique. And I love the rhythm that John and Roger put together. And I should mention Graham at this point, Graham Coxon, who was a very big part of the album. And I had great fun working with him. And that track particularly, you can hear his guitar work really, really well.
Allora, siamo arrivati al terzo brano che è Give It All Up e dice è uno dei miei brani preferiti, è una canzone tipica per Duran Duran, mai fatta prima, non è tradizionale dei Duran Duran, chiaramente esce fuori la voce di Simon, ma soprattutto lo hanno lavorato con Graham Cox, che era Coxon, che è il chitarrista, Blair guitarist, right? Graham Coxon, chitarrista di Blair. Abbiamo lavorato, mi sono trovato molto bene e qui esce molto bene la chitarra di Graham Coxon. Anniversary.
Anniversary, well, that's the most self-referential song we've ever written. There's only one other, which was actually after 10 years together, we put together a song called Burning the Ground, which was made up of samples of our other songs. For anniversary, we're celebrating 4 decades together, which seems impossible, but it's true. And we referenced a lot of the other sounds, the types of harmonies Simon used. I used the motif from Wild Boys that Roger played on the drums. I used that on a synthesizer. The rhythm to it. There's a lot of little things that refer to other songs. The fans just have to go in and find them all.
So that's why maybe it's the first song that I liked listening the first time the album.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Allora, Anniversary dice è la canzone più autoreferenziale. Dice, noi ne avevamo fatto un'altra dopo 10 anni che eravamo insieme a Burning the Ground, dove avevamo usato dei sample della nostra carriera musicale. Dice, qui abbiamo festeggiato con Anniversary 40 anni usando dei suoni, ad esempio c'è i Wild Boys, ci sono dei riferimenti, e quindi è celebrare il proprio anniversario. Io gli ho detto, forse per quello che al primo ascolto dell'album, la canzone che mi è piaciuta di più è Anniversary, perché è quella che mi è più familiare per i Duran Duran. Future Past.
Well, the title was born out of a conversation that John Taylor and I had with a couple of photographers that we want to work with. We still want to work with. It didn't all happen because of the pandemic, but they're very creative, and we were playing them a few songs, saying, "Well, you know, this is where we are." They were roughs of the songs on the album, and one of the photographers said, "It sounds very future past." John and I looked at each other and said, future past. It's interesting. And so we borrowed or stole those two words from them, and it became the album title. I thought there was something about it that was just very representative of where we are now, what Duran Duran are about, and where we are in the world. We're having to reassess everything, and for us, we have a past that we're very proud of, but we still keep moving forward, looking to the future. And I like the idea that people read different things into it. Anyway, I went to Simon and I said, do you like this for a title for the album? And he said immediately, yes, and I want to write the lyric. I know exactly what to do with that. So that became the song Future Past, which is one of the slower songs on the record. And what I like about that is actually the sound. I used some digital synthesizers, which is not something you hear me say that often, because I usually use analog. But I like the idea of mixing the two together for that, and also the mixture of something electronic and modern with orchestral sounds, strings. So, and it's a really haunting melody that Simon came up with.
Allora, Future Past, dunque loro nel periodo della pandemia stavano facendo delle prove, stavano facendo dei suoni, eccetera, e un fotografo ha detto, oh, questo mi piace, sembra Future Past, cioè futuro e passato. E lui e John si sono guardati e detto, cavolo, bel titolo. E difatti è diventato un titolo non solo, ma quando l'hanno proposto a Simon, ti piace Future Past come anche titolo dell'album? Lui ha detto sì, e ha scritto il testo, perché Future Past è noi siamo orgogliosi del nostro passato, ma dobbiamo andare nel futuro. E difatti poi a lui, Nick, ha mescolato, ha usato dei sintetizzatori che li ha mescolati al suono analogico e anche all'elettronica, all'orchestra moderna. Quindi è un mix, è uno dei brani più lenti dell'album ed è un mix di queste cose, di futuro, di passato, analogico, digitale. Ed è questo è Future Past. Beautiful Lies. Why do you smile?
Giorgio, the maestro, Giorgio Moroder. We wanted to work with Giorgio since the very beginning. If we could have got him to produce our first album, we would have got him then. He's responsible for much of the music that we've loved throughout many decades. Obviously, I Feel Loved by Donna Summer was an incredible turning point in electronic dance music. But then also he made the most incredible album with the band Sparks, who we all love very much. Number one song in heaven. And when I used to DJ, I used to play tracks off that, Tryouts for the Human Race, Beat the Clock, Number One in Heaven. They're such great songs, and it was very influential on us, that album. If anyone hasn't heard that, go get it. It's amazing, or stream it, or borrow it, just don't steal it.
Allora gli ho chiesto, it's strange because è strano perché quando tu prendi il disco e lo giri, entri in una discoteca, entri proprio veramente in una discoteca. No, I said that it's strange because when you take the record and you made the side B, you enter in a disco because you start dancing ed è la canzone è Moroder, Giorgio Moroder, il maestro. Loro hanno ascoltato, è stato un grande influenza per loro. Nick faceva il DJ e metteva dei brani suoi. Ritiene che I Feel Love di Donna Summer sia stato il turning point, il punto di massimo di cambiamento della musica. E a lui piace molto il lavoro che ha fatto con gli Sparks, Number One Song in Heaven. Dice che se non avete quel disco, is the Spark record that you suggest, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Il disco
Number one song in heaven. Yeah. I never remember which way round it is. The album might be number one in heaven or number one song in heaven. One's the song, one's the album. But it's terrific. Completely produced by Giorgio Moroder, and I guess it would have been around 1979, 1980. Fantastic record.
Allora, sì, è Number Song in Heaven, non ricordo bene il titolo, comunque quello è il disco, dice prendetelo oppure streamatelo perché è fantastico. E Giorgio Moroder continua con il secondo brano che è Tonight United. The Giorgio Moroder job goes on with Tonight United.
Yeah. Well, Giorgio, you know, we always had this fantasy about what Giorgio Moroder and Duran Duran would sound like if we were able to fuse our sounds together. And when Giorgio came, it couldn't have been easier. He's an absolute professional, as you would expect, but he's a sweetheart too, very down to earth, and really was able to concentrate, sharp as a razor, and zero in. He knew exactly what he wanted to get out of us, and we knew exactly what we wanted to get out of him. So we worked very well together. I think his deep understanding of dance music is pretty extraordinary. Giorgio's now had a very, very long career, much longer than ours. He's got a shelf full of Oscars from all the movie soundtracks he's composed. But when you come down to trying to make 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes of pure, perfect dance floor music, I don't think there's anyone better than Giorgio. So I learned so much from those few days we spent together, and Tonight United is the result of that.
Allora, quando si sono incontrati, Giorgio Moroder e Duran Duran, che cosa sarebbe successo? Si chiedevano praticamente, perché cosa nasce dalla fusione tra Giorgio Moroder e Duran Duran? Bene, questo brano, Tonight United, è un perfetto esempio. Giorgio sapeva esattamente cosa voleva ottenere dai Duran Duran e i Duran Duran sapevano esattamente cosa ottenere da Giorgio Moroder. Giorgio Moroder ha una carriera lunghissima, una carriera anche fatta di molte colonne sonore. Dice però, quando devi concentrare tutto in 3 minuti, 3 minuti e mezzo una canzone, lui è in una canzone da discoteca, per Nick, Giorgio è il migliore che c'è al mondo. We have now tonight, no, Wing.
That's the only track on the album that we collaborated with Mark Ronson on this time. We would have done more, but Mark's always incredibly busy, and we just never got it together to work together again on this. Mark is a fantastic inspiration. He's hugely talented, and on this one, he played guitar. And he said to me one day, actually, that he thinks it is the single prettiest guitar line that he's committed to any recording in his life so far. And I thought about him. It really is a beautiful part that he contributed, and he wrote the song with us. It reminds me a little of some of the David Bowie period around Station to Station. I love that album, and it's maybe it's because it's called Wing, and there's a song on that album called Word on a Wing, but I think it's a bit more than that. It's got a melancholy to it, and an elegance. It's not one of those that'll ever get released as a single, but as an album track. I feel that the mood of it captured something special.
Allora, Wing nasce da l'unico brano con cui ha collaborato Mark Ronson. Avrebbero voluto Mark Ronson che collaborasse di più nell'album dei Duran Duran, però era molto impegnato, e in questo brano suona la chitarra. E lui stesso ha detto che questa è la miglior parte di chitarra che lui abbia mai fatto in un album. Lui ha scritto la canzone insieme ai Duran Duran, ed è molto elegante. Gli ricorda il periodo di Station to Station con David Bowie. More Joy.
Another of my personal favorites, unlike anything we've ever done before, so that always ticks a box for me. It's a crazy combination. I had this idea in my head to try and make something that sounded like the inside of Japanese video game from the 1980s. And it all came out of a jam with Graham Coxon and our producer we're working with, Errol Alcan. And it seemed like none of us were playing in the same band. Everyone was just doing something on their own. But then at a certain point, the absolute chaos just collided in a way that something sounded really amazing about it. And so we carried on playing and battled through, and then after that, that's when we pieced it together. I love the live drums on it, and I like all the sort of sounds that I played, which really were inspired by video games. I used a very old synthesizer called a Wasp, which was one of the first synthesizer I ever had. And then we got the Japanese punk band Chai to come and do all the chants with us on it. It's very unusual.
Allora, questo lui si mette a ridere e dice che More Joy è uno dei suoi brani preferiti. L'idea nasce del fare un brano che fosse come una colonna sonora di quei videogame giapponesi di metà degli anni '80. La cosa strana è che loro hanno cominciato a suonare, a fare una jam session con Graham Coxon alla chitarra e sembrava che ognuno stesse suonando per se stesso, cioè sembrava che ognuno fosse come una jam dove ognuno va per i cavoli suoi, però alla fine tutto si è magicamente unito e quel caos ha trovato una sua forma. Addirittura Nick ha detto che ha usato il Wasp, un vecchio sintetizzatore che aveva, e poi c'è la voce di Chai, questa cantante punk giapponese. We are finishing con Falling.
Falling, well, that's the one we discussed sort of at the beginning with Mike Garson. It is the most jazzy piece that Duran Duran have ever done. And that's largely due to Mike's contribution on the piano. But in a way, I think it sort of became our tribute to David Bowie. It's an unusual piece again. It's a very deep lyric that Simon wrote for it. And I like the way it sort of meanders in its mood, in and out of loneliness and into falling down a tunnel into a little more hope.
Allora, questo brano ne abbiamo già parlato anche prima, è quello più jazzy. C'ha Mike Garson al piano che ha suonato con David Bowie, difatti dice è il nostro tributo a David Bowie. Gli piace molto il testo, è il testo più profondo che ha fatto Simon Le Bon in questo album ed parla di solitudine ed è un tunnel che esce fuori, come uscire da un tunnel, gli piace molto. Nick, now I read some messages so you can answer. And if we publish the link to come in video to someone, so if you are not tired because you've just finished 52 songs.
So after 52 songs, Ronnie, this is just a little chat, isn't it?
Lui dico, se non sei stanco perché abbiamo appena finito 52 canzoni. Allora, Maharishi said, this great album seems a compilation band can make once in their life, like Sgt. Pepper, Dark Side of the Moon, although different. What is, because there are a lot of messages different from this last word of Duran Duran Grey Studio works. So it seems that it's like a compilation of the greatest song, this album, like Sgt. Pepper, Dark Side of the Moon.
Well, I'm very flattered to ever see any of our names of albums alongside things like that. But I think all we can ever do as a band is make the best thing at that time. And you always think it's going to be the best thing you've ever done. And then a few years later, you find out when you can look back at it a little more objectively, you say, all right, well, I like that one and that one and that one. Maybe we could have done that one better. Right now, we're all feeling very, very positive about this record. And I think that it is something probably that how would I describe? I think it's the peak of the last three albums. We've been building up towards this one. And actually, there are more very unusual pieces on it. That's what I like about it, possibly more than the last couple. And I'm perfectly happy with all of them.
Allora, dice, non so, dice, è il picco di 3 album che abbiamo fatto, quello di sicuro, gli piace molto, certo che dice paragonare a quelli che avete detto è abbastanza. Allora, adesso attenzione, in questo momento io vi pubblico sul canale Telegram, e questo è il link del canale Telegram, c'è il link per poter intervenire parlare con Nick Rhodes. Vediamo un po', stanno cambiando un casino, vediamo un po'. Pronto, ci sei? No. Ehi, ci sei? Hello? Ciao. Cosa vuoi dire? Rosy, parla.
Gabriele, vieni qua, vieni qua.
Chaos in the house. Con chi vuoi parlare? Con chi vuoi parlare? Chi è Gabriele?
C'è Nick, no? Nick.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oddio, non ci sento.
We can't hear you.
Ok, no, devi mettere a posto è sempre è solo chaotic. Chi c'è qui? Pronto? Chi è?
Ciao, sono Livio.
Cosa vuoi dire, Livio?
Allora, voglio salutare innanzitutto Nick e ringraziarlo per tutte le emozioni che ci ha dato in questi anni.
Thanks for the emotion you gave them.
Certo, io sono cresciuto con i Duran Duran, capisci?
Grew up with Duran Duran.
E niente, volevo solo ringraziare voi. Per stasera è stata un'intervista bellissima con
Tonight was a
Verdone.
wonderful interview with Carlo Verdone.
Sì, una cosa veramente bella, profonda. Sono rimasto veramente attratto tutta la sera da questa intervista, bellissima, perché c'erano due, persone che lavorano in ambiti diversi.
Two people that work in different ambient, different fields.
Che hanno lo stesso mood, lo stesso feeling, e infatti si è capito molto
they
bene.
have the same mood, the same feeling.
Ti saluto Red, saluto Nick e ti mando un saluto da Mef, che ti ricorderai sicuramente.
Certo.
Ci sentiamo presto.
Ok, grazie, ciao.
Grazie.
They are all falling is my preferred. Allora, waiting, because they're asking how to go inside the live. I give them the link. Ok, entra. It's always a chaos, Nick.
Exactly, Ronnie. The technology is here. I know my technology. One of my lights went earlier. Let me see.
Yeah. Now we see who's these people. Chi siete voi? Pronto?
Hello.
Adesso arriva Nick.
Ciao.
Ciao. Allora,
Ciao. I'm coming back. I'm here.
Hi, Nick.
Nick?
Ciao. Yes.
How are you, Nick?
How am I? I'm
Can you
very
hear
well.
me?
sì, parlate più piano perché state urlando. Fategli una domanda. Avete una domanda da fare?
I'm so excited. Future Past is a wonderful masterpiece. And we listened at least 3 or 4 times a day. And
Wow.
Nick, I would like to know where did you take the inspiration to create the song "Laughing Boy"? I think it's one of the most beautiful Duran Duran songs. Where did you take the inspiration of this great song? I can imagine a connection with this song to Ashes of Bowie, but I don't know if for you it's the same.
Yes, I think without a doubt it was inspired by that period of David Bowie. We've always been influenced by the work of David Bowie, but last time we made an album, the Paper Gods album, David Bowie was still around. And when he very sadly passed away, it left an emptiness, I think, for not just us, but many, many people that were fans of his. And what he left behind was this incredible catalogue of music, so many amazing songs. And we've covered some of the songs before. We did, recently we did 5 Years. We've done Boys Keep Swinging, Fame, a few of them. But we never really wrote something that was sort of almost in the style of that period of David's that I like very much, Scary Monsters. And yes, I think Laughing Boy, certainly the synthesizer sound on there is very much in that style. Yeah.
Allora,
Ok,
vai avanti, aspetta che traduco. Voi avete detto che vi piace moltissimo Laughing Boys, ok? Tu hai detto che ascolti addirittura Future Past 3 volte al giorno, giusto? E Laughing Boys invece lui ha detto è ispirato a Ashes to Ashes di Bowie, e lui ha detto sì, quando abbiamo registrato quel brano David Bowie era ancora tra di noi, ed è incredibile quello che ha lasciato, cioè la mancanza che c'è di Bowie, e quando ha fatto Laughing Boys appunto erano ispirati da Bowie, ok? Ciao ragazzi, ciao.
un attimo, just a moment,
Bye bye, Nick.
Cosa vuoi?
just a moment. Excuse me. What is your dream now after anniversary, after this celebration? You are told that anniversary is difficult after 4 decades, no? And what is your next dream, if you want to tell me?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing some concerts because we didn't play any for a long time. But I always like to make things. So for me, it's about making another record. I'm making a documentary at the moment, which I need to spend some time on, which is about Japanese photography. So I'm excited to get that completed. The work I did with Wendy Bevan, it was 4 albums. The last Astronomia album comes out on December the 21st. So all of those things for me are sort of going on in the background whilst we plan to do some Duran Duran shows, and it keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble.
Allora,
Okay,
Duran Duran always shine. Thank you, Nick. We are waiting for you in Italy.
we can wait.
okay.
Thank you.
So Nick,
Buonanotte.
where will be out the job with Bevan, Wendy Bevan?
Yeah.
21st of
21st, December the 21st. That
Yeah.
is the 4th and final one in this Astronomia series, which will bring it to a total of 52 tracks this year.
Yeah, but do you have the vinyl too?
Vinyl will be out next year, and there will be vinyl for sure. But actually, I wanted to do it this year, and honestly, it proved very difficult because nobody released anything during lockdown. Hardly anybody did. And so all the vinyl factories around the world, of which there are not so many now, are all backed up. There's a queue miles long to have vinyl made. And it was becoming so difficult because I need to make a small amount of 4 different albums that I thought, no, let's wait until Christmas is gone, and then maybe next year we can figure it out.
Ok, allora Atmosphere, l'album che ha fatto con Wendy Bevan, sono 52 brani, uscirà il 21 dicembre, però il vinile bisogna aspettare, perché perché durante il periodo del lockdown nessuno ha pubblicato niente, chiaramente. Adesso tutti stanno pubblicando e le fabbriche di vinili, che non sono più tante nel mondo, hanno una fila lunga miglia e quindi ti devi mettere in coda e aspettare di essere pronto e dice allora aspettiamo e vediamo quello che accade. Allora, vediamo un po'. Eccoti qua. Non ti sento.
Ciao Red, come stai?
Ciao, bene, bene. Allora, c'hai Nick a disposizione, vai.
Ottimo.
Gianluca.
Ciao.
Great moments. I really excited to meet you in this show. An absolute master of rock music and not only, I could say. I'd love to interview on my web TV Radio Rock. It would be a dream for me. In our,
sì, ma
network.
sai quanti vogliono intervistare? He wants to interview you, but
I know.
everyone to interview. Ask a question now. Fagli una domanda adesso.
Is it rock never dead?
It's interesting, I think, because we were talking about rock music the other day, and John Taylor said to me, maybe the years between the Beatles, 1962, until maybe the end of the 1980s, 1988, 89, maybe that was the pinnacle of rock music, and that there will still be rock bands, but from that period onwards, music changed a lot. Dance music, electronic music, hip-hop.
Trap music.
Yeah, trap, rap, all of those different genres, it changed a lot. And the era of rock music seemed older. So I don't know, but there's so much rock music out there that I love from when I was a kid, but I haven't heard much new rock music that I love. I tend to prefer more electronic music now.
Ok, grazie Gianluca. Allora, Nick ha detto, gli ha chiesto, il rock è morto, lui ha detto è interessante perché ne abbiamo parlato proprio l'altro giorno con John Taylor e abbiamo analizzato che dai Beatles a fine anni 80 c'è stato il miglior rock. Oggi anche nei gruppi rock nel frattempo è uscita tanta musica elettronica, tanto tipi di musica, però dice non c'è oggi una musica rock che sia all'altezza di quella che abbiamo ascoltato allora. We have Fabiana. Fabiana,
how do you always manage to get through?
I don't know. It's incredible. Nick, come fai, Fabiana, come fai tu a entrare sempre? Ti sta chiedendo.
I do. I understand English. I'm from Argentina, Ronnie.
I know that you are
because
from.
I don't get to interview you officially. You know, I did get to interview John, but I didn't get to interview you.
Why is that? I don't know. Fabiana, we have known for a long time, and it's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you too.
Fabiana, no,
I have the lime green, if you want it.
Of course you do. This is the one, Ronnie. You see, that's the rarest one.
ecco quello più raro. Sì, ma Fabiana ti ha chiesto come fai ad entrare sempre? Cioè, come fai tu?
How do I do it? I just try and do it fast.
She's clever. No, because
Yeah.
we have a queue, miles, like the queue to do vinyl is the queue to enter in this, and she succeeds. So, Fabiana, you have the question to ask to Nick.
Yes, I do. Actually, it's a two-part if you have a minute, because there are two songs that were mentioned while Ronnie was asking, because they were left out of the vinyls, which are Hammerhead and Nothing Less. If you could tell us your opinion about them. And I also wanted to ask you about how do you feel about the way music is released today? Because we had different tracks. We had like half of the album when the album came out in our hands. And that is the first time for Duran. Many artists have done it before, but sometimes it gets confusing for some people, which songs are singles, which songs aren't singles. So far for me, the ones who have actual videos, which are Invisible and Anniversary, which is absolutely fantastic, both of them are, I'm just thinking, will there be a video for Give It All Up? Will there be a video for the next single? Do you have a next single in mind that is not that? If you could tell me that, how you feel about it, and those two songs, and whenever you want, I can interview you properly.
I refuse to translate in Italian. Too many words. You are like a machine gun with your mouth. Go on, Nick.
I'm a journalist, Ronnie.
Okay. Go on, Nick.
Okay, so Fabiana, well, two things. The songs that didn't make it on there only didn't make it on because, as you probably know, on vinyl, you have a limited amount of time and space to keep the quality. And anything you put over a certain amount of time on each side, the quality suffers quite badly. So I didn't want that. None of us wanted that. So something had to go. And we all discussed which songs out of the 12 or whatever it was could fit and couldn't. And those were the two that ended up being chosen. But in a funny way, I sort of really miss Hammerhead on there. I think Hammerhead should have been on there. The other one, I don't mind as much not being on that particular album. I'm glad it's on everything else. But that was what it was. It was purely based on time. Otherwise, it would have all been on there. Regarding your other question about releasing things, I could not agree with you more. I think it is extremely confusing. And it would not have been my choice, particularly, of the way to put things out. I don't like confusing the public or our fan base or anyone at all, really. I don't think confusion helps us. And so I would have released, personally, one track at a time as a single, old school, just like people used to. I like to think that mostly we do look forward and try to do things in contemporary ways. But in that case, I'm not sure that works, because you're absolutely right. The ones that I think of are the singles are certainly Invisible and Anniversary because they have proper videos and they were promoted as singles. However, every few weeks there was someone calling saying, we need to put this out, we need to put that out. And I think it's too much. It takes away the beauty of having everyone around the world focus on a song. You're quite right that many other artists have done this, which is how we got talked. I was going to use the word coerced, but I won't. We were talked into going down that route. But honestly, I think it's a little too much. I prefer the old method.
Yeah. Okay. Ciao, Fabiana. Thanks a lot.
See you, Fabiana.
Ciao. Bye.
Nick, I refuse to translate. I just enjoy the question and the answer. Because we have a band. We have an Italian band. I know this band. Look at this. Cirrone. We have a band. We have an Italian band. I know this band. Oh, they speak. Cirrone.
Hi. Mirko, come si vede?
No, avete un eco pazzesco. Togliete l'eco, ragazzi.
Hi, it's a great. Sì, it's a great.
No, abbassa, non si capisce un cazzo. Dovete ascoltare me. Avete un eco pazzesco.
Aspetta.
Allora. Hello? Ci siete? No. Out. Allora, left. Who is this? Oh, we speaking about dark song. We have a dark person here. Chi sei? Stefi?
Ciao.
Stefi, parla.
Ciao.
Fai una domanda, Nick, Stefi.
Pronto?
Fai una domanda, Nick.
Mi sentite?
Sì, ti sentiamo.
Mi sentite?
Sì, ma tu non senti noi. Allora, ci siete? Ci siete? Ci siete?
Mi dava la cuffia.
No, niente. No. Ok. This one.
Hello?
Ci siete?
Can you hear me?
Sì,
I'm here. Yeah.
sì, ti sentiamo.
Hey Red, ciao!
Ciao. Ti sentiamo. Non ci sono più. Okay. It's incredible the chaos. Allora. It's incredible, Nick, because we are in 2021 and technology is still so not good. Ok. Mi sentite adesso? Altrimenti mi
Ok,
dite
ok. Io
Ok,
ti sento, Red.
ok. Dove vivete voi? Dove siete? Allora,
Okay, we are at the moment in Sicily. I think you know very well Sicily.
yeah,
You know?
Pretty well.
We are in Palermo,
yeah.
and we are a big fan of. There's no reason to. There's no need to say that we are big fans. And then the very
In Sicily there is a very bad
our
connection.
parents brought to the stadium of Palermo.
Yeah, I was there.
And we were like, the Duran Duran.
The Duran Duran, it was so emotional that they float down. Oh my God. Okay. Someone else, and after we stop. Because the problem is the connection. The problem, Nick, is that we have to rehearse before and after they do it. But this is impossible because we are Angelo.
Ciao, sì,
Ciao.
sì, ciao. Volevo chiedere, qual è stata l'emozione del poter realizzare il nuovo album? The new album is for his emotion, is music.
Qual è stata, which was the emotion that pushed you to do a new album, Nick?
Well, I think that as artists, whether you're making music or film or painting or whatever it is, you have to act a little bit like a sponge. You have to soak up all the things around you. And that involves the good things, the uplifting things, the sad things, some of the things in life that are more difficult. And with Duran Duran, when we've made albums, we've always tried to find a balance. Our goal is to lift people's spirits, to try to take people on a journey, but also to be real. And I think the emotional journey of music is incredibly important. If we make a song and it doesn't make someone have a reaction, then I think it's a failure. The important thing about a song is it touches you somehow. It connects. And that connection, as I've always said before, it just makes you want to dance. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it can also be that it makes you reconsider something or think a little more deeply about an aspect of your own life and to question something or to look at something in a different way. And when you find songs that can do that, I think that's a very special thing in life. So that's what we always try to do.
Ok, ciao Angelo. Allora dice che chiaramente l'emozione, nel caso qual è l'emozione con cui fai un album? Dice l'emozione con cui fai un album è un'emozione, tu cerchi di fare ciò in cui credi, però non ti puoi aspettare che quella che è la tua emozione passerà. Cioè, magari altri hanno altro feeling. In sintesi, quello che ha detto Nick. Poi abbiamo... ciao Steffi. Neni.
Ciao.
Hi. Ciao, hi. How's
Di-
everyone?
Tell
Good.
Neni.
Thank
Ask a question to Nick.
Yes, hi Nick. So nice to talk to you again. And I just want to say that I love the album. It's wonderful. I got a copy that you signed for, well, not especially for me, but it's signed by you. And you drew a little horns, like a little devil on the cover, and I thought that was so cute.
for sure, yeah.
I was near Halloween, so and I know you like Halloween and all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to ask, who else would you like to work with in terms of music collaborations? And have you ever thought about recording in other languages?
Yeah. Well, firstly, other people that we'd like to work with, there's always long lists of people, lots of new artists, but also some artists that maybe are not as well known, and some artists that have been around for a long time that we've always admired. That's the pool we look at. On this album, I think we really got the balance right, because we worked with Mike Garson, who was one of our heroes when we were little kids. We worked with Chai, who were very, very young and new, and from Japan. We worked with
Tavlu.
Sorry? Tovlu, yeah. Tovlu. We worked with Tovlu, who is obviously a youngish artist from the last decade, Swedish, and got a wonderful voice and powerful, modern and a little bit dark. So I love that. You get your balance. And then we work with a very, very young British rap artist called Ivorian Doll, because Simon had in his head he just wanted something that sounded like London rap, and it was nice to work with someone who was at that early stage in her career as well. So you never really know where it's coming from. It'd be easy for me to say, I think Billie Eilish is great. I keep repeating this because I really think she is the most interesting of the younger generation coming out in the last couple of years that I think has an inspired sound of her own. It reminds me a little bit of when Lady Gaga's first album came out. That had something remarkably special too. So you look at people like that, and I think everybody would want to work with her right now. But you also look for things that could be a good fit for a piece of music. That's how we really get into it.
Nick, allora lui ha detto che gli ha chiesto con chi gli piaceva lavorare, dice veramente in questo album noi abbiamo lavorato con tanti, ha dimenticato You Forgot Giorgio Moroder among the people that you worked.
Yes, the producers, Mark Ronson, Giorgio Moroder,
yes.
Graham Coxon, of course.
Mike Gerson, Chai, etc. But Nini did another question. Are you thinking to sing in another language?
Yes.
No, but I think that we, as Italy, there was a period in which a lot of international artists sang in Italian. David Bowie, this is the record. Look, I'll show you, Nick. This is a record of David Bowie singing in Italian.
I've never heard that. What is that?
Ragazzo solo, ragazza sola. This is Space Oddity in Italian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I tell you what happened. We did a song called Someone Else Not Me, which was on the Pop Trash album, so around 1999. We did that in French and Spanish. And I actually think they both worked really well. We didn't do Italian. The problem that I have for pop music with the Italian language is that I think it's extremely difficult, particularly when you don't know the language well, to translate things because the language is so complicated. The words have too many syllables, and all your words end with vowels, an I or an E or an O. And so it makes it very, very difficult because of the rhymes that we use. You know, in English, you have many, many options to make language work in a song. And I've always thought that this is difficult in Italian, really, really difficult to make a perfect chorus to cadence at the right time and to have the right amount of syllables to fill the melody. This is why opera works so beautifully in Italian. If you listen to Verdi and Puccini, it's fantastic because there is the space and you don't need to stick to a very strict rhyming scheme and melody. You can meander and go off on a journey. And so as much as I would like to do something in Italian, and I think it's the most beautiful language, I think it's very hard.
Allora dice che gli ho fatto vedere il disco di David Bowie in italiano, Blue Vinyl. David
Very
Bowie,
rare, very rare.
David Bowie in italiano, dico, c'era un periodo in cui tutti cantavano in italiano. Stevie Wonder sang in Italian. There were a lot of people, a lot of international artists sang in Italian. E dice sì, ma l'italiano è veramente difficile perché avete troppe sillabe, avete le vocali ed è un casino. Dice funziona benissimo con l'opera, Verdi, Rossini, va benissimo, ma fare una canzone in italiano è molto difficile. Now we have the Lord Christian is a piano player. Nick,
Ciao.
non ti sento. Non ti sento.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Now, do you hear me? Yes.
Yes, okay,
Yeah, hello.
okay.
Nice to meet you. I'm a pianist from Italy and a composer. I have a question for you as a musician. How did you manage to do music for many, many years? So 40 years for the moment is a long time for me, for example. And which kind of advice do you have to other musicians, younger than like me, for example? How to do like something like to change the kind of music you produce, something like now I'm a pianist, I'm a composer, but in the future I can do like electronic music, like try to sing, exploring all the genre of music, something like this. What do you think about?
I think I can only really tell you from my personal experience, which was that I had a vision with my friend John Taylor when we were kids, when we were 10, 12, 13, 14, 16 years old. That didn't really change. And we knew we had to make a sound of our own. At the time we came up as a band, everybody had their own sound. Nobody sounded the same. If you look at the music from the period of the 80s, you look at Prince, Madonna, Michael Jackson, In Excess, The Smiths, The Cure, Billy Idol, everybody sounded different. They all had their own sound, and we had our sound. We just made our sound quite broad because we like to experiment more. But I think you should try to find your own voice, whether that is piano or certainly if you play piano, you can easily look at playing electronic keyboards, synthesizers, and that will give you many, many more sounds. It's piano for me is the most pure color. It's black and white if you like piano. But if you have synthesizers, then you have color. You can have every color you can imagine. And if you classically trained, you learned how to play piano, then you'll easily be able to play that. You just have to learn how to find the sounds that you want. So that could be interesting for sure for you. But finding a sound, finding a vision, and then sticking to your ideas. don't let other people tell you what to do if you have the idea yourself, because nobody will ever know what your idea is better than you will. And so I think there is something about sticking to your vision and trying to make that happen. Obviously, you need to work online as much as you can to try and build an audience. But now that everybody is online, that is difficult too, because it's hard to be heard above all the other voices. But I certainly, I wish you luck. And obviously you speak English too. That should be helpful, I think, because a lot of great Italian music that I hear through friends and through my partner, I wouldn't have known that it existed in Italian because nobody plays it outside of Italy. If you can use English as well, then you will have a much bigger audience to be able to get through to, if you want to do that.
Ok, ciao Christian.
Thank you.
Adesso
Ciao.
traduco. Allora, Nick ha detto una cosa molto, molto interessante, perché ha detto è importante avere il proprio suono. Cioè, gli ha chiesto, Christian Delord, gli ha chiesto cosa consigli, perché Nick è da 40 anni, si rinnova sempre. Devi avere il tuo suono, non devi mai avere qualcuno che ti dica quello che tu devi fare. Se tu pensi negli anni 80, che ne so, c'era Madonna, c'era Michael Jackson, Billy Idol, i Cure, eccetera, ma ognuno aveva il suo suono e noi avevamo il nostro suono, cioè ognuno era identificato con un suono, e questo è importante, cercare il tuo suono. Poi l'altra cosa importante è andare in internet, chiaramente, però adesso c'è anche molto affollamento in internet. Importante anche, visto che sai l'inglese, se canti in inglese puoi raggiungere altri posti nel mondo. Allora, adesso now we go to here. Ciao, who are you?
Hi.
Chi sei?
Hello.
Sof.
Hi, Nick. Hello.
Come stai?
My name is Sof. I'm a huge Duran Duran fan. I am 14 years old and I'm from Argentina. I'm really happy right now. Oh my God. I wanted to ask you a question about the pandemic. Like, how was doing the Future Past album while, the pandemic was here? I don't know how to explain it. But how was the feeling of doing an album during a pandemic? Was it hard? Was it different?
Sure.
That's it.
Well, we actually had done about 2/3 of the work on the album before the pandemic hit. So a lot of the songs were pretty much finished, including songs like Invisible. They were done. But then the pandemic hit and we couldn't finish the album. We all had to go home and isolate like everybody else, and we couldn't be together. So for 9 to 10 months, we did nothing at all with the record. Then we got back together early this year, maybe March of 2021, and we worked for about 2 to 3 months on finishing the album, having been through the first part of the pandemic. And I think that doing that, obviously it changed all of our attitudes. Your view on life had to be somewhat affected by the horror that we all saw and friends that had lived through these things. So I think for sure when we completed the album, that bit was the thing that was affected by the pandemic. And mostly with some of the lyrics, I think they became a bit more personal and a bit more about humanity and relationships. And I think the mood of the record, when we were editing the record together, we tried to find a balance that suited the times, knowing what people have been through, and that affected the choices.
Yes. Allora, Fabiana,
That's nice.
Fabiana, no, Sof,
Thank you.
Sof, ciao. You are 14 years old,
So, yes,
and you are fan of Duran
yes,
Duran. But
yes,
yes, but who pushed you to listen to Duran Duran?
yes.
Who pushed you?
My family was always a huge Duran Duran fan.
Yeah.
And when I was 10, I went to the Lollapalooza here in Argentina. And I don't know, I always loved Duran Duran. And this year I started buying the records. Here I have Future Past. And I don't know, I'm really interested on the band and the story. I am actually listening to the whole discography of Duran Duran. I think it's really nice, and it's my favorite band. So I'm really happy, you know.
Okay, ciao, Sof, ciao. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
No, isn't it incredible, Nick, that 14 years old?
Right?
Yeah, incredible. Cioè,
Well, we always say, as soon as you have children, you need to start training them.
no, dice, è incredibile perché questa ragazzina ha 14 anni ed è una fan dei Duran Duran in Argentina e lei chiaramente è stata i suoi genitori, eccetera, e poi ha cominciato ad ascoltare tutta la vecchia discografia dei Duran Duran ed è pazzesco questo. La domanda che gli ha fatto è come è stato comporre un album come Future Past in periodo di lockdown. E invece dice no, i 2/3 l'abbiamo fatto prima del lockdown, dopo è stato, dice il caos è venuto quando noi abbiamo dovuto, dice dopo chiaramente i testi del disco sono stati molto più intimi i testi perché più di aspetti umani, eccetera. Nick, I think we are at the end because there are a lot of people, but we can't go on. I thank you a
Do
lot.
another one, Ron.
What?
I said we'll do another one another time. I think it's time I have some supper as well, isn't it? It's getting a little late even for me. Goodness.
Yeah. Do you have to eat now?
Yeah.
But no. Which time is it? In Italy, it's 11:30.
Yeah, it's 10:30. It's 10:30. A little late. I usually eat around 9:30. It's
Yeah, but when? How is your day?
Today, what happened today? Well, I got up. I always get up and do some email, then sort out things that I need to do at home, and then usually go to the studio, work for a while. Today, actually, I saw the rest of the band. We had a meeting together about some projects moving forward and the touring. And then I came back home and I did the final editing for the mixes on the Astronomia album, because we have to deliver that tomorrow to make our release date on the 21st of December. And then I started speaking to you, and that was that. So now it's time to probably have something to eat. Maybe I'll watch something, some series or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you have Get Back of the Beatles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd love
Why
to.
not? And
And I should charge my computer because my computer is about to die. So you probably picked the right time, Ronnie, to bring this one to an end.
Yes. Last question everyone asks. Tour.
Tour, and
dates,
tour.
dates,
Yes.
concerts,
Well,
live.
the answer is yes. We're definitely going to play some shows. Obviously, we've got some in Europe already announced. There is nowhere we would like to come more than to Italy. But so far, nothing has made me super excited. We need to find something really Italy, I think. I'd like to find someone. We need a really a great sponsor. Bigger shows happen around the country, or something more unusual. That's what I would like. If not, then I'm sure we'll come and play some dates in the places that people always play in Italy. But it'd be nice to do something different. That's what we've always tried to do there. So, yeah, and it'll be next year. Provided everything keeps going the right direction, we shall be there.
Ok, dice che per quanto riguarda i concerti vorrebbe qualcosa di speciale, ma ci sarebbe bisogno di un grande sponsor per avere qualcosa di speciale, altrimenti suoneranno nei soliti cose. Nick, I think that your computer is becoming to the end because sometimes you are like Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom? That has...
Yeah. I quite like that. Simon and I did that show.
Yeah. Me too. I like Max Headroom. I was in London. They showed me the first. Anyway, Nick, thanks a lot. Hope you too.
Thank you, Ronnie. It's a pleasure as always, and thank you, Carlo Verdone. What a lovely gentleman. And hugely talented. I've become a fan of his work, and I'm very happy to chat with him. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, say hello and give a kiss to Nefer because she was the cause of everything, of this meeting, okay?
He's often the cause of things.
Ciao, Nick. Good night.
Yeah. All right. Buonanotte. Ciao.